for help getting off our streets. Group is called Vegas Stronger. They say that it has to do with temperatures getting colder and also city, county, and law enforcement efforts.
Temperatures drop. The number of people living in a St. Paul homeless encampment has risen significantly. This as shelters report their overcapacity.
Across the United States, entire blocks are filling with silent rows of aging RVs, each one home to a veteran who once wore the uniform. Rent exploded. Benefits fell behind. Cities cracked down. And now tens of thousands of veterans are trapped in vehicles they can't repair, can't park, and can't live without. This is the crisis no one is talking about. Until now. The number of veterans living in RVs has exploded over the last 5 years, creating a crisis few Americans recognize. While official counts of homeless veterans list around 40,000, these numbers are dangerously misleading because they exclude anyone living in a vehicle. Advocacy groups working directly with displaced veterans estimate that 100,000 to 150,000 veterans now use RVs, vans, or motorhomes as their main form of shelter. That means more veterans live in vehicles today than in all U.S. homeless shelters combined. This sharp rise began when rental prices soared between 2020 and 2025. Many veterans purchased old RVs because they believed it would keep them off the streets, providing a last safety net. But rising fuel costs, insurance rates, repairs, and the lack of affordable RV park spaces pushed many deeper into instability. In states like California, Arizona, Florida, and Washington, outreach teams report entire blocks filled with RVs, many belonging to veterans over age 50. The situation worsens because RVs offer only temporary protection. Once the engine fails, tires blow, or registration lapses, the veteran loses their last remaining home. Many live one repair bill away from absolute homelessness. This is no longer a fringe issue. It represents the fastest growing form of veteran housing insecurity in America, and it's happening in silence. Across the United States,
We can't dismiss this as just another unhinged rant. Trump is threatening to abolish voting by mail and gerrymander more states, which he says could give him 100 more seats. It's up to Democrats like you to stop him. If you believe our democracy is worth fighting for, then please pitch into the DNC's Fight Fund, because we will save voting by mail from the President of the United States. But the strength of our opposition hinges directly on the strength of this grassroots team. We're already suing the administration to defend the rights of mail-in voters. Now, as he prepares to launch a new wave of attacks, it's up to us to do whatever it takes to fight back. Thank you for taking a stand.
Don't spend a dime at the audiologist until you see this. Oh, you're losing your hearing? Better go drop 5.
RV clusters are forming around VA hospitals, a trend almost unheard of before 2019. These are not recreational travelers. They are veterans who cannot afford housing but must remain close to medical care. 2025, cities like San Diego, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Denver, Portland, and Tampa report hundreds of RVs parked within a few miles of their VA facilities. In San Diego alone, outreach teams counted over 300 RVs surrounding the hospital district, many occupied by elderly veterans requiring weekly appointments. These encampments form for survival, not convenience. Veterans with PTSD, chronic pain, diabetes, heart disease, or mobility impairments simply cannot live far from their doctors. Yet rents near VA hospitals often exceed $2,200 to $2,800 per month, a cost completely unattainable for veterans living on $1,900 Social Security or moderate disability checks. Local governments often respond with towing operations instead of solutions. In 2024, Los Angeles impounded over 1,100 RVs, many belonging to veterans who then lost access to treatment entirely. Veterans describe this situation as a medical trap. They must stay near healthcare, but areas around hospitals are the least affordable in the country. The result is a new kind of encampment. Medically dependent veterans living in deteriorating RVs, parked on streets where they face constant risk of fines, towing, or harassment. RV parks, once seen as an affordable lifeline, have become completely unreachable for many veterans in 2025. The average monthly rate for a long-term RV space used to be $450 to $600. Today, due to inflation, demand spikes, and park closures, those rates have surged to $700 to $1,400 per month, depending on the state. In high-demand areas like Southern California or Florida, some parks now charge $1,600 to $1,900, prices even higher than many apartments 10 years ago. For veterans surviving on $1,907 in Social Security or $1,000 to $1,300 in partial VA disability compensation, these costs swallow nearly their entire income. As a result, thousands have been pushed out of RV parks and onto public streets, industrial zones, and Walmart or Home Depot lots where overnight parking is increasingly restricted. Compounding the issue, many RV parks reject older RVs through a policy known as the 10-year rule. This means veterans living in 20-year-old, 30-year-old, or even 40-year-old rigs are turned away, regardless of their ability to pay. Some parks require background checks, credit checks, or high deposits veterans cannot afford. What began as a last resort housing solution is now collapsing. Veterans who bought RVs to avoid homelessness are discovering they cannot legally or financially park them anywhere. This shifting economic landscape has transformed RV living from a survival strategy into a new stage of homelessness. One of the most destructive forces behind the RV veteran crisis is the wave of city ordinances banning overnight parking. More than 60 U.S. cities, including Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Austin, Denver, and Miami, have passed strict laws in the past 3 years, restricting where RVs can park, sleep, or remain stationary. These laws often include 72-hour limits, forced relocations, or towing without warning.
Keep your cash and spend ours. Our Black Friday sale is back. Get 20% off our clean replacement windows and ensemble entry doors with
For veterans living in RVs, these policies are catastrophic. When an RV is towed, it is almost always unrecoverable. Towing fees range from $350 to $650, and storage rates add $80 to $150 per day. By the time a veteran can respond, the bill often exceeds $1,500 to $4,000, amounts impossible for someone living on fixed income. Once the RV is lost, the veteran immediately becomes unsheltered. In 2024 alone, Los Angeles reported over 2,000 RV tows, and Seattle impounded nearly 600, many belonging to disabled or elderly veterans. Advocacy groups argue these policies criminalize survival rather than address root causes like housing affordability or lack of veteran-specific support. Veterans describe constant fear, waking up to police knocking, receiving tickets they cannot pay, or being forced to move every 72 hours despite medical or mobility issues. These crackdowns are turning RV homelessness into a legal crisis, punishing veterans simply for having nowhere else to go. For RV-dwelling veterans, losing the vehicle means losing everything. An apartment renter who's evicted may still have belongings, clothes, furniture, and documents. But a veteran whose RV is towed loses their home, possessions, medications, and transportation all at once. That's why RV removal has become the #1 trigger pushing veterans from hidden homelessness into unsheltered street homelessness. Across major cities, towing has surged dramatically. In 2024, Los Angeles impounded over 1,100 RVs, Seattle nearly 600, Denver close to 400, and Phoenix over 350. Surveys from local outreach teams estimate that 25 to 35% of those RVs belong to veterans, meaning thousands lost the last physical structure protecting them from the streets. Once an RV is impounded, retrieval costs average $1,500 to $4,000, depending on towing distance and daily storage fees. Veterans living on fixed incomes, often between $1,000 to $100 and $2,000 per month, have no path to reclaim them. The RV is auctioned, scrapped, or destroyed within weeks, leaving the veteran outside with nothing more than a backpack. Without shelter, veterans lose access to refrigeration for medications, safe storage for documents, and reliable access to medical appointments. Their health declines rapidly. Many enter a downward spiral: hospitalization, lost benefits, lost identification, and eventually chronic homelessness. Towing is not just a penalty. It is a catastrophic, life-altering event. Most RVs owned by homeless or low-income veterans are not modern motorhomes. They are 20-year-old to 40-year-old rigs purchased cheaply out of desperation. These aging vehicles break down constantly. When they do, the veteran faces an impossible situation: pay for repairs they can't afford or lose functional shelter entirely. The average RV repair costs in 2025 are staggering. A transmission failure runs $1,800 to $4,200. Brake repairs cost $300 to $900. Tire blowouts can cost $150 to $350 per tire, and older Class C motorhomes often need all 6 replaced. Even basic maintenance like belts, batteries, and alternators frequently totals $400 to $800. For veterans living on disability checks or low retirement income, a single mechanical failure can wipe out an entire month's benefits. More than 60% of RV-dwelling veterans report having a major repair they could not afford in the past 2 years. When the RV becomes immobile, the city often classifies it as abandoned, making it a prime target for towing or removal. A broken RV also limits access to VA medical care. Veterans often miss appointments because they cannot drive their vehicle or afford fuel. Missed appointments can lead to loss of medication refills, worsening mental health symptoms, and even denial of disability claims for non-compliance. For housed Americans, a car repair is an inconvenience. For an RV-dwelling veteran, a breakdown is a housing collapse. One of the most damaging and least discussed problems in 2025 is that veterans living in RVs are not officially counted as homeless under many federal and local definitions. The Department of Housing and Urban Development often categorizes vehicle dwellers as precariously housed rather than homeless unless they meet strict criteria. This classification shuts veterans out of crucial services like rapid rehousing, rental vouchers, and emergency assistance. As a result, tens of thousands of RV-dwelling veterans are invisible to the system. Advocacy organizations estimate that at least 60,000 veterans who qualify for homelessness support receive nothing simply because they sleep inside a vehicle. Outreach teams in California, Colorado, and Washington report that 40 to 50% of the veterans they encounter in RVs have never received any form of housing assistance. Without the correct classification, veterans cannot access HUDVASH vouchers, transitional housing, motel placement programs, or even some shelter systems. Many are turned away with the message, "You have a roof, you're not homeless." This creates a paradox. Veterans living in unsafe, unheated, non-functional RVs are treated as if they have housing security. Meanwhile, police and city officials still threaten towing and fines, creating double pressure from both sides. The result is a massive gap in care, a population with urgent housing needs but no formal access to support. The RV homelessness crisis is overwhelmingly affecting older veterans, particularly those over age 55, who now make up an estimated 60% of all veterans living in vehicles. These men and women, many of whom served in Vietnam, Desert Storm, or early post-9/11 deployments, are aging into poverty rather than retirement. Many older veterans live on fixed incomes, $1,907 average Social Security, or disability payments ranging from $171 to $3,600 depending on rating. But with rent in many cities exceeding $2,200, these incomes no longer cover basic living costs. Buying an old RV felt like a last chance at stability, a portable private space where they could age with dignity. But aging veterans face steep challenges, mobility issues.
What sweet potatoes do to your dog's allergies? Hear that? That's the sound of a dog licking itself. If you hear that every
Mobility issues make it difficult to move RVs every 72 hours to comply with city laws. Chronic health conditions like heart disease, diabetes, COPD, and arthritis require frequent medical visits, yet many cannot afford fuel or repairs. Some older veterans rely on VA medical equipment that requires electricity, forcing them to idle engines or run unreliable generators. Worse, older veterans are highly vulnerable to extreme heat and cold. In 2023 and 2024, heat waves contributed to dozens of heat-related hospitalizations among elderly veterans living in RVs in Arizona, Nevada, and Texas. Winter storms in Colorado and Washington led to similar emergencies. RV living is hard for anyone, but for an older veteran, it is often physically impossible. Female veterans are the fastest growing group entering RV homelessness, and the reasons are deeply tied to safety, trauma, and economic pressure. Between 2020 and 2025, the number of women veterans living in RVs or vans increased by over 20%, according to outreach groups in California, Nevada, and Florida. Many of these women are fleeing unsafe housing situations, abusive relationships, or shelters where they feel vulnerable. More than 2 million women have served in the U.S. military, and studies show that female veterans are twice as likely as men to experience military sexual trauma. This trauma often leads to PTSD, anxiety, depression, and long-term distrust of shared shelters. Many women report that an RV is the only place where they can lock a door and feel safe. Financially, female veterans face steep challenges. Nearly 30% are single mothers, and childcare costs, often $1,000 to $1,400 per month, make stable renting nearly impossible. For some, buying a $2,000 to $5,000 used RV seems like the only viable solution, but the reality quickly becomes harder. Many women lack the mechanical experience to maintain an aging RV, leading to breakdowns, towing, or dangerous living conditions. Some female veterans also avoid VA medical centers due to past trauma, making it harder to access benefits or housing support. RV living gives female veterans control and privacy, but at a severe cost. RVs may look like mobile homes, but they offer very little real protection against extreme weather. Veterans living in old RVs face life-threatening heat, freezing temperatures, and storms every year. In states like Arizona and Nevada, interior RV temperatures can exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to emergency room spikes. In 2024, Phoenix alone recorded nearly 70 heat-related hospital visits among RV-dwelling veterans. Older RVs often lack insulation, functional air conditioning, or safe heating. A failing RV air conditioning unit costs $800 to $1,500 to replace, an impossible expense for most veterans living on fixed income.
The charger actually repairs your phone while charging, and everyone thinks it's too good to be true. Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants one. My friends roasted me for buying a fast charger online. They said I got scammed, but then I showed them what it could do. Now they're all begging me to send them the link. It's called MagVolt Pro, and it's nothing like the chargers you're used to. Now this thing actually charges your phone from 0% to 100% in just 5 minutes, whether it's an iPhone or Android. Seriously, it even repairs your phone's battery health and improves processing speed as it's charging. It's like getting a brand new phone without having to pay thousands. And the best part, no more dead batteries, no random bricked phones, no waiting hours to charge. Let me give you 7 reasons why MagVolt chargers are blowing up right now. 1, they charge any phone from 0% to 100% in just 5 minutes. They work instantly with any device you plug in. Just connect it and your phone powers up completely. 2, they stop phone companies from remotely sabotaging your battery to force you to buy a new phone. Whether your phone is new or old, your battery stays protected. No more mysterious slowdown.
Many rely on small battery-powered fans or opening windows for airflow, which barely reduces heat exposure. Winter is equally dangerous. In cold states like Colorado, Washington, and Montana, nighttime RV temperatures can drop into the 20s or teens, even when outside temperatures are mild. Veterans often resort to propane heaters, which increase the risk of fires and carbon monoxide poisoning. In 2023 and 2024, multiple fire departments reported RV fires caused by makeshift heating systems, some involving veterans. Storms also hit RV dwellers the hardest. A strong wind can knock over an RV. Flash floods can destroy entire encampments. Extreme weather is no longer an inconvenience. It's a lethal threat. Veterans who once believed an RV would keep them safe now face an environment where one heat wave, cold snap, or storm could cost them their life. For many veterans, especially those with PTSD, traditional homeless shelters are not an option. Crowded sleeping quarters, constant noise, strict curfews, and unpredictable behavior from other residents can trigger panic, hypervigilance, and flashbacks. As a result, a significant number of veterans, estimated at over 40% of RV-dwelling vets, choose to live in vehicles specifically to avoid shelters. PTSD affects 11 to 20% of post-9/11 veterans and nearly 30% of Vietnam veterans. Many cannot sleep in open dormitory-style rooms where footsteps, talking, or sudden noises feel like threats. Some describe shelters as combat zones with beds. In cities like Seattle, Denver, and Los Angeles, outreach workers report that veterans with PTSD are far more likely to accept help if they can remain in their RVs rather than move into group housing. Shelters also come with strict intake procedures, bag checks, metal detectors, pat-downs, which can be re-traumatizing for veterans with combat histories. Many fear theft, assault, or losing personal belongings. In some cases, shelters separate residents from pets, which becomes a deal breaker for veterans who rely on service animals for emotional stability. An RV, even if old and unsafe, offers privacy, control, and the ability to create distance from others.
This one easy mistake will cost you thousands when buying a used car. Did you know that some dealerships will clear the check engine?
For veterans with PTSD, that sense of personal space is more than comfort. It's survival. This is why so many choose RVs over shelters. The suicide crisis among veterans is already severe. An estimated 17 veterans die by suicide every day. But RV homeless veterans face an even higher risk due to isolation, chronic stress, and lack of access to consistent care. Outreach workers in California, Nevada, and Washington report that veterans living in RVs often show deeper symptoms of hopelessness and withdrawal compared to those in shelters or transitional housing. Isolation is a major factor. RV dwellers often park in industrial zones, remote lots, or areas without lighting or social contact. Studies show that social isolation increases suicide risk by up to 200%, and many RV veterans go days or even weeks without meaningful human interaction. Mental health care access is limited. A veteran living in an RV who misses just 2 or 3 VA appointments due to mechanical issues or towing risks may lose medication refills, counseling sessions, or disability claim progress. A drop in medication consistency is a major predictor of suicidal behavior. Financial stress creates additional pressure. Veterans living on $1,000 to $2,000 monthly cannot afford repairs, fuel, safe parking, or even stable food supplies. When the RV breaks down or towing is threatened, veterans often describe the situation as the end of the road. This combination of trauma, isolation, poverty, declining health, and lack of support creates a suicide risk higher than any other homeless subgroup. It is one of the most urgent and least recognized crises facing veterans today. A hidden crisis affecting RV homeless veterans is the loss or reduction of benefits caused by missed VA appointments. Many veterans rely on disability evaluations, mental health sessions, or recurring medical checkups to maintain eligibility for compensation. Nationwide, advocates estimate that over 25,000 veterans missed VA health appointments in 2024 due to vehicle breakdowns or towing operations. Even worse, more than 14,000 disability claims were delayed, suspended, or denied because veterans failed to appear for required exams. VA regulations state that missing a compensation and pension exam may result in claim denial, something many RV dwelling veterans cannot avoid. When benefits lapse, the impact is immediate. A veteran losing $1,200 to $3,600 per month in disability income is almost guaranteed to fall into total homelessness. Some veterans lose healthcare access entirely, including medication refills for PTSD, chronic pain, or depression. This creates a vicious cycle. The RV breaks down, the veteran misses appointments, benefits are reduced, they cannot afford repairs, and the RV deteriorates further. Veterans are not missing appointments out of neglect. They are missing them because their home is a failing vehicle they can barely keep running. While much attention focuses on RV homelessness in cities, a growing number of veterans are living in rural RV parks, forest roads, and remote areas where assistance is almost non-existent. Rising living costs in urban centers have pushed thousands of veterans into rural regions of Oregon, Arizona, Montana, Idaho, Texas, and New Mexico. In these areas, outreach teams estimate 15,000 to 25,000 veterans are living in older RVs without stable utilities. The challenges in rural RV living are extreme. Many veterans must travel 40 to 120.
Throw it as hard as you want. Go on. Watching it zip away feels like it might just keep going, right? Nope, here it comes. This thing's
120 miles to reach a VA clinic. Fuel costs alone, often $4 to $6 per gallon in remote towns, make regular medical care impossible. RV breakdowns are more common due to rough terrain, and mobile mechanics can charge $150 just to show up, before repairs even begin. Rural areas also lack shelters, food banks, and mental health services. Veterans facing a crisis may have no police response for 30 to 60 minutes, no emergency medical services nearby, and no outreach teams checking on them. In winter, many rely on wood stoves or propane heaters, increasing risk of fires or carbon monoxide poisoning. Additionally, rural isolation makes suicide and medical emergencies more deadly. If a veteran collapses or experiences a mental health crisis, help may be hours away. These forgotten veterans are living far off the grid, beyond the reach of every support system meant to protect them. RV homeless veterans are disproportionately targeted for crime, including theft, vandalism, harassment, and assault. Because RVs often park in industrial zones, abandoned lots, or dimly lit streets, they become easy targets for criminals. A 2024 outreach survey from Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Portland found that over 55% of veterans living in RVs experience theft at least once. Common items stolen include tools, generators, medications, propane tanks, and even batteries, without which the RV becomes unusable. Many veterans also face harassment from both civilians and organized groups that target RV dwellers. Reports include slashed tires, broken windows, and attempted break-ins, while veterans were inside sleeping. In some cases, individuals pose as law enforcement to intimidate RV residents into leaving an area. Violence is also a growing issue. In 2023 and 2024, police departments in major West Coast cities documented over 200 assaults in encampments where veterans were known to live in RVs. Because many suffer from PTSD, these events trigger severe psychological setbacks and increase the likelihood of substance use or mental health decline. Veterans also report conflict with other RV dwellers when resources are scarce. Fights break out over parking spaces, access to water, or generator noise. Living in an RV is not freedom. It is vulnerability. Veterans who served their country now find themselves sleeping in vehicles with broken locks, in areas where no one will come if they call for help. If current trends continue, the number of RV homeless veterans could double within the next 2 years, reaching 200,000 to 250,000 by 2027. Several forces are pushing this expansion. First, rent continues rising faster than veteran benefits. In 2024 and 2025, rent increased 4 to 7%, while VA disability adjustments rose only 3.2%. By 2026, the gap will be even worse. Second, tens of thousands of aging veterans, particularly Vietnam-era vets, are reaching ages where fixed incomes no longer cover living costs. Third, RV park closures are accelerating. Some states have seen 10 to 20% of private RV parks shut down due to redevelopment, environmental regulations, or rising insurance costs. Every closure pushes hundreds more veterans into street parking. Fourth, cities are expanding anti-RV ordinances. If the 60-plus cities enforcing overnight parking bans grow to 100 or more, veterans will have almost nowhere legal to stay. Increased towing will escalate homelessness instantly. Finally, the mental health and medical system cannot keep up. With a 400,000 claim backlog and rising PTSD cases, more veterans will slip through the cracks each year. Without intervention, affordable housing programs, designated RV safe lots, mechanical repair funds, and VA reforms, the RV veteran crisis will become one of the largest homelessness waves in American history. The warning signs are clear, and time is running out. This is not just a crisis, it's a national failure happening in slow motion. If you believe America must do better for its veterans, Tell us in the comments what you think needs to change. And don't miss our next video. We're exposing another shocking truth that every American needs to hear.
If you live in a Montana